America, the United States of America, engineers, listen good to what I'm saying, engineers a climate of hatred, stress, and tension for our people. Well, let me ask you a question. You get on the elevator and the white woman holds her purse when you get on. Where does that thought come from that she needs to hold her purse?
Like they do their media.
Okay, now you're getting there. That's what I was saying. Education, for instance, fortifies that kind of thought. The entertainment industry, movies, music, news articles, so forth, fortify that kind of thinking. It works on the minds of the people to react in accord to the way they've been taught. The engineering is been done through all of those different avenues.
Today's topic is entitled Benign Neglect. I want to open up real quick. I'm going to just touch on this briefly. Get me Deuteronomy 28:64. You brothers that are teachers or up-and-coming teachers, while we were out there, we did go over the 12 tribes breakdown. Remember, outside of the 12 tribe breakdown, Genesis 49 and Deuteronomy 33 primarily deals with North, Central, and South America. That does not mean that there are no other Israelites. They are around. Who's reading for me?
Oh, Salim.
Okay, come on.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 64.
Old Testament, go ahead.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So that was the curse that came upon us. The slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Sahara slave trade. From there, go to the New Testament, James 1:1. And like we said when we were there, before the destruction comes as prophesied in the Holy Bible, our people in these nations are going to hear the word of the Most High. They're going to hear of what their leaders and their people have done to the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people, before the missiles come. Go ahead.
James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings.
So I'm showing y'all how the same thing that's said in the Old Testament, in Deuteronomy 28:64, is the same thing being said in the New Testament. Because you got these Christians. Remember, Christianity is totally against the Old Testament. Actually, against the whole Bible. But in disguise, they say, oh, we only follow the New Testament. They don't even follow that. Ask them about James 1:1. Where are the 12 tribes scattered abroad? Where are they? Oh, no. They don't accept the Bible. Now, watch this. Get me Zephaniah 2:10.
Zephaniah 2, verse 10.
I want everybody to listen good to that. I know we give Hamites. Now, we are right. Hamites are not accepted in this thing. Understand that. Hamites, if their lineage goes back to Ham, they are not accepted in this truth. But you have Shemites who live amongst Hamites. And remember, before Genesis 25:25, we all look similar.
Zephaniah 3, verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is located in Africa. Listen good.
My supplements, even the daughter of my dispersed.
Even the daughter of my dispersed. The word dispersed means scattered. Go ahead.
Shall bring mine offering. And that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all thy doings.
Watch this, come on.
Wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride. And thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity.
So the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity is making reference to God's suppliance, the daughter of his dispersed, beyond, listen good to the wording, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. If you look at a map, let me see if I see the maps. Okay, beyond the river. You got the Blue Nile River down there. You have the White Nile. You have the Nile itself. You have the, is that Arbara? Where are you at? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, a Bay River. You have the go up top. You got the Arbara River. I'm not there. I'm at the very top. Right there. I'm there. Atbara River. Then you got the, let me see. Okay. So what I want y'all to understand is that the Most High says there are remnants of Israel there. That's all I want y'all to know. All Ethiopians are not Israelites. Liz, I'm going to say it again. All Ethiopians are not Israelites. But God says there's a remnant there. So in our teaching, those of us who are on the street teaching, be mindful. Be mindful before we throw the spirit of condemnation. Everybody understand that? All right. I know some of y'all are taken aback. Like, we're so used to reading Zephaniah 2 and 12. Ain't that right, Captain Isaac? Read that. Let's read that. Everybody know this one, Zephaniah 2 and 12.
Zephaniah 2 verse 12. Ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword.
Now, that's the one we used to reading. Yeah! Now, if they real Ethiopians, yes, the Most High going to jack them up. But amongst them, God lets us know there's a remnant of his people there. So be mindful in our teaching. Now, those that hear this word, you may say, well, it's for them to figure out. That ain't our job to figure out who's Israel. It's their job. Now, once they decide and realize that they are the remnant, get 2 Timothy 4 and 5. This is for you dispersed Israel. I don't care if you in Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Senegal, west coast of Africa, even south. This is what the scriptures say. Read that. Pay attention. 2 Timothy 4 and 5.
2 Timothy 4 verse 5. But watch thou in all things. Endure afflictions.
Endure afflictions.
Do the work of an evangelist.
So you scattered Israelites in Ethiopia, Ghana, Senegal, on the west coast, do the work of an evangelist. And that ain't talking about do the work of a Christian. Talking about Christianity with your garbage. Because if you're doing that, you're going to get destroyed. And I'm saying this on the internet so y'all can hear and understand crystal clear. Read on.
Make full proof of thy ministry.
Make full proof of your ministry as what? As an Israelite, okay? Gathering the 12 tribes of Israel. Not as following Christianity. You with Rex Humbard. You with Jimmy Swaggart. You with T.D. Jakes. Or what's that other dude? Creflo Dollar. Not that. Wearing a suit and tie. We're going to come back to everything this Bible says. We're going to obey the dress code. We're going to obey the dietary code. If you ain't doing that, you're not making full proof of your ministry. Was that it?
That's it.
Get 2 Corinthians 13:5.
2 Corinthians 13 verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves.
You see that part right there? Prove your own selves. That's what we want. Prove your own self. So, brothers, it's not up to us to prove who Israel is out there. It's up to them to prove that they're Israel. You understand that, Captain Isaac? It's their job. They're going to prove that they're Israel. We don't got to prove nothing. Our job is to teach the word. Let them prove themselves. All right? Was that it, Officer Leon?
Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except you be reprobates.
Exactly. Let me ask a question. Here's a question. Can I get a napkin? I'm sweating. There's a dumb doctrine out there that says, some Israelites teach that Japhet is Caucasian. Where does that come from? Thank you. Anybody know? Yes, Ephraim.
Shalom, leadership.
Shalom.
From Babylon to Timbuktu?
Correct. Very good. Can you get that? You got your copy? Get Babylon Timbuktu. Page 22. You got yours highlighted? Let me show you how the stupidity of our people. They won't pull, because you ask them, show me in the Bible where Japhet is Caucasian or so-called white people. Show me that in the Bible. They can't do it. Because the only difference in skin complexion, according to Scripture, is where, brothers? Genesis 25:25. That's it. And it's talking about Esau. You got it?
Page 22, Babylon Timbuktu. Now we know that the Japhites are white today. Europeans. Now we know that Japhites, Europeans, are white today. Were they originally white beginning from their ancestor Japheth, or did a change materialize in the skin color of the descendants of Japheth? This question is difficult to answer. I was told that Japheth was a black man, but he wanted to be white, so God changed him to a white man. Evidence to that theory is lacking.
Evidence to that theory is lacking. Theory, meaning a guess. So that's where when you see these Israelites out there that say, oh, Japheth is white, they're getting it from this book. And he tells you there's no proof, no evidence of that. Okay, get Genesis 25:25. Let's get the biblical proof. Everything we say, brothers and sisters, must be based on Scripture. Not on a theory, not on a guess, not on what you heard. Read it, thus saith the Lord. Come on.
Genesis 25, verse 25. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment.
The first came out red. Why red? Because the blood showed forth through his skin. He came out red all over like a hairy garment. And he was hairy. Go ahead.
And they called his name Esau.
That's the change in complexion. That's the beginning of the change in complexion. Opposed, listen good, opposed to Genesis 2, verse 7. Get that for me. Genesis 2, verse 7.
Genesis 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
In case y'all didn't know, the dust of the ground is brown. Different shades of brown, from a very dark brown to a very light brown. Read it again.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Genesis 2:7 shows the difference from Genesis 25. So when the question comes up to Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, what scripture would y'all go to prove their color? Nobody knows? Raise your hand. Where would you go? Nobody has a clue. Where would you go? You. Say it loud, because none of them's paying attention.
The same scripture.
Which
Genesis 2, verse 7.
Very good. Genesis 2. Can you read it again?
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
That's the color of everybody on the earth, all the way up to Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When you get to Esau in the 25th chapter, that's when the change came in. Everybody understand that? Okay, so now we're going to get into the topic. We're going to get into the topic. Today's topic is entitled benign neglect. Can we look that word up? Those words up. Benign neglect. Okay, there's benign. It means gentle or kindly. Write that down. Under benign neglect, right? Benign means gentle or kind. Now let's look up neglect. Because it's two words. It's two words. Let's look up neglect. Okay, neglect means fail to care for properly. The state or fact of being uncared for. Now we're going to get into where that term benign neglect originated in a few minutes. So, in case y'all didn't know or were unaware, America, the United States of America, engineers, listen good to what I'm saying, engineers a climate of hatred, stress, and tension for our people. I'm going to say it again. America engineers a climate of hatred, stress, and tension for our people, black and Latino peoples, okay? Get me Psalms, the 44th chapter, and I want to read verse 12 through 16. Psalms 44. We're all some of us are familiar with this. Listen very good.
Psalms 44, verse 12. Thou sellest thy people for naught.
Thou sellest thy people for naught. Go ahead.
And dost not increase thy wealth by their price.
So people get angry with the Most High. The Most High, yes, he made us go into slavery, but it was not for a financial gain on the Most High's part. Watch this.
Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors.
Because we broke God's laws, we have become a reproach to our neighbors, meaning a disgrace, a disliked,
a scorn and a derision
we
to
have
them.
become a scorn and a derision to the nations around us. Go ahead.
That are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen.
A byword among the heathen. Let me tell you, a byword is being called African American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Haitian. Those are bywords. Nigger, spick, coon, those are bywords. Bywords, insults, being outside of your God-given title. God calls us Judah. God calls us Benjamin. God calls us Levi. God calls us Ephraim. God calls us Simeon, and so forth and so on. We're the nation of Israel. But when we went into slavery, the nation said, no, change their identities. Read.
Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people.
That's why when many of us, some of us move into so-called Caucasian neighborhoods, they shake their head. They say, oh, price of real estate is going down. Look who moved next door to us. When we go into their schools, they shake their heads. Look who came into our schools. We bus our children to their schools for a better education. They shake their heads at us. Why? Because we are disliked, disgraced. What are we reading? The Holy Bible. Go ahead.
My confusion is continually before me.
You see that? My confusion is continually before me. Why? Because here today why don't they like us? We make X amount of money. We have a nice car. We even speak a better grammar. They still don't like us. So what can we do about this thing? You can't do nothing, brothers. You can't do nothing, sisters, if they call you a president. Remember that thing Russia put up with the picture of him as a monkey? Here you are in your little 9-to-5 blue-collar job. You think if they do that to your president, how much more you? Well, I got good white friends. You simple as hell. You are simple. And you deserve what you get. What verse you at?
My confusion, verse 15. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me.
And the shame of my face hath covered me. That's why many of your women, black women, use Ambi, the skin lightening cream. I don't want to look the way I look no more. I want to change the way I look. It's self-hate. Where does the self-hate originate from? The nations hating us, despising us, mocking us. I want to straighten my hair. I want a wig and I want a weave. But that's baboon hair. I don't care. Put it on my head. That's what our women do. And you brothers are guilty of that too. No, you're not guilty of, yeah, that's Ambi. And the way I know that's so good because my mother used to buy it for my sister. One sister is light skinned, the other one was dark. The dark one had to, every morning put this on her. Ask her, Mama, what's that? Mind your business, boy, move. That's what they would say. Mind your business, boy, and move. So later on, as I grew, I started reading. Well, I could read now. This is a fade cream. Oh, and they got a lot of other ones too. That's big product in South Africa, big product in Santo Domingo. Yeah, y'all too. I know you like to say me no negro, but yes, you are. Yes, you are. What verse we at again?
That was verse 15.
Read it again.
My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me.
Exactly. The shame of my face hath covered me. There's a big thing in the news where a cop got killed, and they said they blamed it on Black Lives Matter movement. Let me tell you something. Don't believe that. That ain't what's going on. That ain't what's going on. There's been so much corruption. A lot of people are angry with. I see it. I see it. I hear it every day. Let me tell you something. Back to that reproach. There have been, you know how many number of undercover cops have gotten shot in the streets by, they call it friendly fire. Oh, he got shot. But he had the color of the day on. He had the color of, well, we didn't see that. All we saw was a Negro running down the street and we shot him. Mm-hmm. You stick around. You're going to hear some things. Now, what verse you at?
That was 15. Verse 16.
15. Uh-huh.
For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger.
So all this is by reason of him that blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and avenger. Some of y'all don't like, this is why as some of y'all start to learn the Bible, you start to see words like enemy, and you don't like those words. It's foreign because Christianity doesn't teach you these words. They say, no, ignore all that stuff. So you grow up with an illusion of inclusion, right? Now, give me the first article, Abiel. All right. Isaac, can you read that for us? Come on.
Last weekend, a black family pitched a tent on Rollins Lake in Nevada City,
Now, I wanted this because I know some of y'all going camping. Go ahead.
California, as part of a family reunion. They intended on enjoying a little camping by the lake, but instead say they were harassed by a family who set up camp nearby. Family members say everything initially went well as they set up camp at Greenhorn Campground. The family wanted to have fun on the lake. We pitched the tents, we bring the food, we cook the ribs, Kanisha Allen said. We thought Rollins Lake would be a perfect place, Allen said, according to USA Today. Allen saying they were all getting along swimmingly until another family arrived and set up camp beside them. Some of the other campers were from the rowdier group were just staring over and making racial comments, she said. Then she recalls a man from the group who began shouting racial slurs. I didn't come here to sleep next to any fucking niggas, is what he said, Allen recalled. Allen says the family tried to ignore the man's racially inflammatory remarks. When you're African American, you have to do that sometimes to move forward, she said. Eventually, however, Allen says the family couldn't take the insults anymore and reported the campers to the officials at the campsite. That's when a man from the other campsite who'd been making racial slurs became violent. All you could hear was, I'm gonna kill you fucking niggas, Allen said. The guys in our campsite told us to run. The man began to run toward the black campers with what they initially thought was a gun, but turned out to be a shovel. It was terrifying. I have a 9-month-old daughter, and I grabbed her, and the only thing that I could think of was you need to go down the ravine and hide next to the water because we didn't know what was happening, Allen said.
Now, this is a reflection of 1960s all over again. Because some of you try to ignore articles like that. I know some of you, your blue-collar jobs, you don't like to read. You want to read about Kanye, what's that other coon? You want to get so many. Jay-Z, who? Common. You want to read about them, Oprah. But this is the reality our people live through. You can close your eyes if you want. This is reality. Read.
Allen says her mother, who is in her 60s, has bruises and scrapes from running. My mother was alive during the civil rights movement, and to have to relive some of the things that she had gone through in her younger years today, it is almost unbelievable, Allen said. Police in Nevada County are recommending hate crime charges be brought against a man who allegedly terrorized the family.
So, well, all righty then. Anybody want to make comment on it? Okay, well, let's go on. I made a point earlier. I said that America engineers hatred, tension, and stress amongst our people, and a whole lot more. I'm just using those three words. In actuality, America engineers sin among us. Give me that in Judith 5. Give me Judith 5:18. Yes.
The bishop used the term, he said, America engineers these acts. When we say America engineers, give me some of the avenues that America uses to engineer or to cause these things to actually evolve. Am I going too deep by saying that?
Like self-hatred.
Well, let me ask you a question. You get on the elevator and the white woman holds her purse when you get on. Where does that thought come from that she needs to hold her purse when you get on the elevator?
So you with me? See that
like from the news, what they say about our people, like how we steal, we robbers and stuff, like they do their media.
Okay, now you're getting there. That's what I was saying. The tools or the components of this society is where the engineering happens. Education, for instance, fortifies that kind of thought. The entertainment industry, movies, music, news articles, so forth, fortify that kind of thinking. So the engineering comes behind all of those elements that run throughout the society. So what does it do? It works on the minds of the people to react in accord to the way they've been taught. The engineering is been done through all of those different avenues. religion, for instance. Christ is a white man. Well, then who are these? These niggas, blah, blah, blah. You follow me? So there's an action that's going to come behind that thought.
Get Judith 5. We're going to start at verse 18. We've read this many times before about a general named Holofernes. He came up to gather the people, and he said whoever would not fight by his side, he would return and destroy them. So our people, the Israelites, we had just came back from the Persian captivity. We did not join him, his army. So now he came back to destroy us. He asked the question. He said, who is this people located in the hill countries? So now there was an Ammonite who begins to explain our history. He goes into a long dissertation, but I just want to point out key factors. Verse 18, please.
Judith chapter 5, verse 18. But when they departed,
But when they, meaning the Israelites, he's telling the history, go ahead.
from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore.
When we departed from the way God appointed us, we were destroyed in many battles very sore. Go ahead.
And were led captives into a land that was not theirs.
Even to this very day. It's prophetic. So when we left God's commandments, we were destroyed in many battles and were led captive. Watch this. Go ahead.
And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
Watch this.
But now are they returned to their God,
So we had just came back from the Persian captivity. Go ahead.
and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate.
Here come.
Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people,
Meaning if there's any sin in these people, the Israelites,
and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
this shall be their ruin, our ruin. Go ahead.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So the point of reading that, the nations historically have read our records better than we read them ourselves. The nations understand that as long as the Israelites are sinning against the one true God, he will never stand on our behalf as he did in the time of Egypt and fight for us. So they, on our jobs, many of us get paid Friday night. Like, remember that song by Johnny Depp, was it? Just got paid? Johnny, what was his name?
Yeah, it wasn't Johnny.
Kemp, I'm sorry, Johnny Kemp. And I remember Friday night we get paid. Where would we go? To the club. That's the first thing. Why we go to the club? For the women. We didn't go there just to hang out with each other. We go to the club to hang out with the woman. It's all adultery. And you know when you go to clubs, they turn the AC down. I know this because we used to throw parties way back before the truth. Keep the heat on, lower the AC. Very little water, have alcohol everywhere.
Clothes off.
Half-naked women, alcohol and heat. It's a cesspool for adultery. Oh, I'm going to get some tonight. That is the atmosphere. That's why they do these. Everything is engineered that way. Nothing is done by accident. I want to show you the next clip. Give me the next clip about the judge. Now, we always talk about which is true. We do need judges, lawyers, doctors amongst our people, which we do have. But I want to read the story of this judge right here, Captain Isaac. Can you read this for us? He went through, he did his, now the way, well, we'll read it. Just read it for us.
Whites quit working with black Mississippi judge. Then he got sacked. A black judge in Mississippi claims he was removed from office following years of resistance from a mostly white legal system.
I'm sorry, read the thing right up under the title.
Ricky Thompson started a drug court to start treating offenders and stop imprisoning them. Then he says officials quit sending him offenders altogether.
So what happened? This black judge decided, he said, you know what? You have a lot of black people going to jail for minor offenses, like if you had a thing of weed. Send them to jail. He said, listen, we can rehab them, make a drug court, and get them out, get them some help. That was his plan. Read.
A black judge in Mississippi claims he was removed from office following years of resistance from a mostly white legal system to his push to treat drug offenders instead of imprisoning them. Justice Court Judge Ricky Thompson of Lee County, named for Confederate General Robert E. Lee, is the first and only black judge in the county's 149-year history. In May, the Mississippi Supreme Court removed him from the post that he's held since 2004 over a slew of misconduct allegations.
Ooh, so now maybe they're justified. He had a slew of misconduct reports.
I'm very familiar with that kind of practice. They just dirty your file up.
It came to the point where they couldn't beat me at the ballot, so they had to find another direction, he
So
said.
he was voted in. He was being voted in. Go ahead.
Thompson said the sheriff quit. Thompson said the sheriff quit sending him suspects and fellow judges quit sending the accused to his drug court. Warrants he signed for the sheriff's department went unserved. A bailiff even once refused to open his court. Officially, Thompson was found by Mississippi's highest court to have violated several rules, including what amounts to make clerical errors like using the wrong form when filing paperwork.
Uh-oh, now this sounds serious. Let's keep reading. It sounds real serious, huh?
That should not be surprising, given Mississippi requires only a high school diploma to be a justice court judge.
That.
Thompson,
We moving out there.
Thompson, a registered nurse with an associate degree, has more education than that of his fellow justice court magistrates.
So pause. Wait a minute. So this black guy, this judge, he has an associate's, what does it say? What does it say? Where we at? Okay, he's a registered nurse with an associate degree. But he has more education than that of his fellow justice court magistrates, which are Caucasian. So if he got an associate, they must got a high school diploma. If that.
Do you see the what's the word? The oxymoron in that statement? How in the world you gonna have somebody that have a degree, and then you got others that don't have a degree, but yet you call them fellow justice court? Right. How in the hell are they a fellow if they're not on your level?
Thompson's crimes include speaking up for a bail bondsman who had been previously suspended from operating by the sheriff, preventing a drug court defendant from choosing her own attorney over one he advocated for, keeping some people in drug court longer than the 2 years allowed by state law, wrongly incarcerating 4 people.
So let's see. Oh, that sounds bad. That bottom one. He wrongly incarcerated 4 people. Go ahead.
The last charge is the most important. When a handful of offenders violated the drugs court's rules, Thompson found them in contempt of court and sent them to jail. The longest sentence was 6 months. If Thompson hadn't created his drug court in the first place, the 4 people he locked up for contempt would have almost surely been in prison longer than they would have been for their drug offenses.
So you see that? Because of his drug court, they got a lesser time. But if he didn't create it, they would have been in there for years opposed to 6 months. Go ahead.
That means Thompson was kicked off the bench, in part, for not locking up drug offenders for longer than he did.
So that's his offense. White folks is mad at him for that. Go ahead.
The judge was popular with blacks in the county, and he kept quite a few of them out of jail for minor offenses like marijuana possession. The sheriff evidently wanted to see them in his jail or prison. When I first started, obviously there was a learning curve, but you see some of the bad things that are going on. And Thompson said, and as people got to know me and know that I was going to be fair, that I wasn't going to be a rubber stamp, that's when the trouble started.
A rubber stamp means regardless, guilty, guilty, guilty. He wasn't doing that.
A complaint filed in federal court last week by Thompson's attorney, Jim Wade, details what they say happened next. In 2009, Thompson had seen enough people getting locked up for petty drug offenses, and after much negotiation and arm twisting, convinced the county to start what would become his drug court. Thompson's complaint alleges fellow judges, all white, began to refuse to send suspects, mostly black, to the drug court once it was running. The resistance didn't stop there. When Thompson found a black misdemeanor suspect not guilty of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, Sheriff Jim Johnson took revenge, Thompson claims, Mississippi sheriffs decide which judges get which suspects. So when Thompson acquitted the black defendant, Sheriff Johnson simply quit bringing suspects to Thompson's courtroom. Johnson's deputies refused to serve warrants issued by Thompson, he said. When Thompson held a contempt hearing for a white deputy, he said other deputies appeared in court to intimidate him. A bailiff once even refused to open Thompson's court, the traditional all rise, while 8 inmates sat in the courtroom without supervision, according to a letter from a counselor submitted as evidence in Thompson's complaint. In November 2013, the Mississippi Commission on Judicial Performance opened an investigation of Thompson's alleged misdeeds and last summer recommended he be removed from the bench. The state Supreme Court agreed and removed him in May. According to his attorney, the crimes for which Thompson was found guilty amount to offenses that are regularly committed by white judges who are not removed from office. The court said there was no evidence of racial bias.
Well, all righty then. So now, drugs. Now, listen good. Listen good what I'm saying. I'm not justifying at all our people selling crack cocaine. Far from it. All I'm saying is I understand it. And when I say understand it, if you are, let's say you do have a college degree. You have no job, right? You have no job. You have a wife, you have kids. You have no job. Money needs to be made. You got to understand the root behind it all. Yes, it's sin, but like I said earlier, America engineers the things that occur amongst our people. It's not by accident. There's a big, yes, we are doing these things now, but it didn't originate with us. There was a man behind us. The man was behind us. So like I said, I'm not justifying the use of drugs at all. It's a crime. It's a crime. Because all of us, according to scriptures, are meant to be sober-minded. Can we get that, Officer Leon? Give me Titus 2:2. And when the Bible talks about being sober-minded, we are not to be inebriated, intoxicated with anything, alcohol included, drugs, whatever. Read that for us, Titus 2:2.
Titus chapter 2, verse 2. That the aged men be sober.
So when the Bible says the aged men are to be sober, to this day, do you know there's some aged men out in the hood who are not sober? They are on crack. They are on drugs. They're high on weed. They are drunk. All these things, when the Bible clearly says we are to be sober-minded. That's the aged man. Jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober.
The young women amongst us are to be sober. Aged women are to teach young women to be sober. Them as also not to be high on drugs, inebriated, intoxicated. These things are not to be. Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded.
Young men are commanded to be sober-minded, not high, not intoxicated, not inebriated. None of these things are supposed to be amongst our peoples, our nation. We're to be clear thinking. We're to be of sound mind, according to the word of the Most High. Listen good. Yes, Lava.
Bishop, but let's examine the matter for a second. Yeah, because let's meditate on it for a minute. They got the judge, the prosecutor, the lawyer. Then they got the drug dealer. But you notice that the lawyer, the prosecutor, and the judge, where they live? $1 million home. Where the nigga who destroy his community live. In a project. So that's what you say, they're designed to be like that. Because as long that our people selling drugs, you keep the white America going. Right. Meaning the judge, the prosecutor, your own lawyer.
The police officer.
Yeah, the police officer. They're living in a nice home. But where the nigga killing to get the white people to live luxurious, he killing his own people. So the white America ain't trying to get rid of drugs.
Right.
You understand? Understand this.
So, here you got jobless people, sorrowful people, depressed people. There's one reason some of our people use drugs. It's to escape their reality. Understand what I'm saying? Some of our people use drugs to escape their reality. What is their reality? They don't have a job. They cannot bring in money to take care of the woman they love and the children that they love. So again, I'm not justifying it. I understand. You got to sit back and think. I've spoken with many crackheads, many drug dealers. I've sat down and spoke with them and asked them things. And I always hear, I used to have a wife. I used to have kids. But I couldn't provide for them. So it took them over that end. Get me Sirach 30.
And they want to get out of the life.
Right.
I knew some that was in the life and got out of it.
Exactly. And that's the reason I showed that article. Right. The judge said, rather than imprison them, let's help them because there's something behind it. Esau, the white man, said, no, lock them up. Read that for me. Sirach 30, 21 to 25, please.
Sirach 30, verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness.
Give not over your mind to heaviness. Another word for heaviness is sorrow and depression. Come on.
And afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
And afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. Many times we fall short of things and we afflict ourselves. If I'd only gone to school. Well, I did go to school. I still didn't get what I wanted. So we begin to afflict ourselves with internally in our mind. Go ahead.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man. That's why when we learn this truth, this Bible is meant to be our joy, okay? Not the drugs that we once may have used. That's not to be our joy because you get addicted to those things. And it breaks down your mind, your body, and your soul. Look at Whitney Houston. Lovely woman, one of the greatest singers of all times. What did drugs do for her? It broke down her mind, her body to the point she couldn't even hold a note no more. That's what drugs will do to you. Your teeth will start to fall out your mouth. Your strength, you will lose it. Come on, read on.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
And the joyfulness of a man will prolong your days of living. So we have to find out, how do we get this joy? Where do we find this joy? It's in the word of the Most High. It's in the word of the Most High by knowing that you are the Israelites. You are the greatest people that ever set foot on this earth. It is the joy that the earth was made, not for all races on the earth, but for our race, these 12 tribes. That should bring some joy to you. Understand that. Read on.
Love thine own soul.
Love thine own soul, which goes back to the Lord and Moses gave us. When he said love your neighbor as you love who? Yourself. The reason there's black on black crime is because we hate self. I hate me. There's no way in hell I'm going to love you. I hate the way my hair looks. I hate the way my eyes look. I hate my skin. So I sure as hell hate you. Read it again.
Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart.
So this is what we got to do. That's why this Bible is about being born again. Changing back the things that have occurred to us. Changing image from one side to the other. Understand that. Come on.
Remove sorrow far from thee.
So that's a commandment. Remove sorrow far from thee. Remove it. Push it aside. What you sad for? You ain't got a job? Push that aside. We make jobs up in here for each other. What? You ain't got a wife? You ain't got a husband? Don't worry. Days are coming, but you got to get yourself right. Come on.
For sorrow hath killed many.
What has sorrow done?
For sorrow hath killed many.
That's why our people run to drugs, run to weed, alcoholism. That's sorrow, and it will kill them in the end. Was that it?
And there is no profit therein.
And I want to go down to 25. What verse you at?
That's 23.
Go ahead.
Envy and wrath shorten the life.
Envy and wrath shorten life. That's for y'all that's in the Joneses. Oh, look what he got. Look what she got. Look at his car. Look at her car. Look at her clothes. Look at my clothes. Envy and wrath do what?
Shorten the life.
Shorten. That's when you get into that drug life. You want to live a certain quality of living. You want to floss for your neighbor. You want to floss for that woman you got. And it shortens the life. What happens? Because there's always going to be some dealer who's better than you. You taking over his territory. You encroaching on his money. You on my turf. Right. Read that part again.
Envy and wrath shorten the life.
Envy and wrath. Jealousy and anger will shorten your life. So you being jealous of the next brother or the next sister, it will shorten your life. Go ahead.
And carefulness bringeth age.
Wait. That word carefulness right there translates to worry. Worry. Some of us worry for why do you worry about things you can't change? You can't change it. Why worry about it? Put it in the hands of the Most High and keep it moving. Read it again.
And carefulness bringeth age before the time.
That's why some of you are 25, look like you 60. Your face is all, the age is gone. Why? Because of worry. Because you are so worried about things you cannot change. Was that it?
And carefulness bringeth the age before the time.
Right.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Now let's go into something else, but read it again. I'm going to touch on it.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
When you have a care, read it again.
A cheerful.
When you have a cheerful
and good heart.
And good heart.
Will have a care of his meat and diet.
Now I'm still talking about escapism with drugs, right? That's what I was talking about. Guess what some people do when they're depressed? Eat. 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 Read it again.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
When you have a cheerful and good heart, you must have a care for what you eat. Not only what you eat, but how much you eat. Because all that goes back, it's going to bring sorrow, depression. It's going to break down your body. Understand that. Even those of us who keep to the dietary law, you waking up eating chicken and turkey 6 a.m. in the morning. And not one piece. You eating a whole, can you put a wedding tier cake up for me? Some of your plates look like that. You got rice on the bottom. You got potatoes next. Then you got chicken and grits on top of that. And maybe a waffle with some molasses. And gravy all on it. And believe me, that is a side effect of not having a cheerful heart. That brother or that sister is sorrowing about something within. So they eat their sorrows away. Right, that's what they do. That's what some of our people do. They eat. My wife would tell her sister, she just eat. Her husband died. I know why. The husband passed away from being on crack. Now they just eat. Now she went from being 140 to 340. And what the hell is this? That's what they call it, a Dagwood sandwich. Some people can eat that with one bite. And it's all based upon, because of sorrow. They don't have, Leon, read that verse one more time.
Sirach 30, verse 25. A cheerful and good heart.
A cheerful and good heart.
Will have a care of his meat.
Will have a care of his meat.
And diet.
Loving yourself begins to make you take a look at yourself and say, you know what? Eating this is not healthy for me. Eating this much is not healthy for me. It's going to kill me. But if I hate self, I'm going to eat it. When I start to fall in love with myself, I'm going to say, you know what? Let me change the way I eat. I shouldn't eat that. Yeah, I like chocolate, but I know I shouldn't eat all. Not that much. No, just give me a little piece. Like an alcoholic. Is it lawful for us to drink alcohol? Yes. But an alcoholic does it in excess. And a lot of times it's because of sorrow. Something in his mind, his or her, because they get drunk too, something in the background somewhere causes him or her wants to get drunk to drown away their sorrow. Was that it? Down to 25, Leon. That was it. So now, give me Isaiah 51. So again, I made the statement earlier. I said brothers are not selling drugs without the support of the black or Latin woman. That's a true statement. He's selling the drugs to get you, sister. That's why he's doing it.
Isaiah 51, verse 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
A lot of times, now that's prophecy that black men and Latin men would hang at the corners of all the streets. Prophetic. Understand what I'm saying? Read it again.
Thy sons have fainted.
Our sons have fainted. Fainted from what? From the truth of who they are. From the truth that they are greatest people on the earth, from the truth that they are the 12 tribes of Israel, from the truth that Christ died for them, from the truth that the earth is ours. Read it again.
Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net.
Our sons are like wild bulls on that corner. Read it again, that part.
As a wild bull in a net.
Do you see that word net there? The net is the system we live in. The net is America's engineering the way we live. Poverty is engineered. Understand what I'm saying? America creates that. If this is Black America, Latin America, as a white man, I cannot have all of you making the equivalent of what I make. There must be a social status. So I may allow this front row. Y'all can make it. But from row 2 on back, not y'all. Y'all go to McDonald's, or you might work, sweep the streets somewhere. This row here, I might make you a white collar workers, maybe, okay, second row, blue collar, but the rest, no. That's how America engineers poverty. It's created that way. It's not because we're stupid and cannot learn. That is what the media portrays, but that's not the reality. Read it again.
As a wild bull in a net.
So again, that net is the system that is engineered for us to live in. Okay? I'll give you another story. When I went to art school, the best artists in visual arts where I went were the black students and the Latino students. But guess who got the jobs? The white kids. Josiah, you know. Those of us who went to art school, bad, we were the best ever, could not get a job. And we was hustling too. No, I'm sorry, your work is not, it's not what we expected, no. I would send artwork to DC Comics. They sent me, they said, your work is excellent. We want to hire you. Come in on such and such a day and sign the contract. I went down there, it was a board of white folks. All of a sudden now, my wife will tell you the story. My work was no longer good. I said, okay, I understand. I left. And the Most High brought me into this truth. All praise to the Most. Now, many of us got stories like that. Even the best singers, the best whatever, is always amongst our people. Always. Always. I got to get back on it. The police department have tests, right? You got to have 60 college credits. Back when I was young, all you needed was a high school diploma. Most of the jobs, look at most of the city jobs, back in the day when I was a kid, all you needed was a high school diploma. As blacks and Latinos started to come and get these jobs, they changed the criteria. They said, no, it's too many of them. That's what I'm saying. America engineers poverty. They engineer what we go through. It's not by accident, it's by design. Understand that. Who's going to say something? Go ahead.
You notice in Isaiah 51:20 where it says, thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of the streets as a wild bull in the net. What's another term for it? What's the net used for? What do our people call the ghetto today? So they know what it is, but they don't understand how to get out of it. One thing real quick. Look up ghetto real quick, please. I'm going to show you nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Look up the definition of ghetto. See what it means. See how far this goes. That is engineered, as the elders have been bringing out all throughout the class. How our living conditions are engineered. This is during the time of we was in Spain during this time.
Full definition of ghetto. A quarter of a city in which Jews were formerly required to live.
See that? Jews were formerly required to live. Read the next definition.
Definition number 2. A quarter of a city in which members of a minority group live especially because of social, legal, or economic pressure.
See that? That go back to that influence. This is made for Jews. The ghettos are made for Jews, period. From the time of the Dark Ages when they conquered us in the Middle Ages up until now. They put us on, it sectioned us off, and who do you find in ghettos? What people in particular do you find in ghetto conditions? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans called reservations. Those are ghettos. And by definition, a ghetto is a place that's made for Jews. And so-called Jews today don't live in ghettos. They own the ghettos today and build within the ghettos and move Negroes out and put themselves in and change into a what they call it West Manhattan or downtown gentrification, exactly. But I'm showing y'all even by Esau's own definition in the history himself, ghettos are made, or the trap was made for Jews only. Read the last definition. Read 3B. No, read those. 3A and B.
3A, an isolated group.
An isolated group, a group that's that's not desired. Go back to Zephaniah. Read the next one.
A situation that resembles a ghetto, especially in conferring inferior status or limiting opportunities.
See that? A place for people of inferior status or limited opportunities. No job, overqualified. Good work there, but not enough. That lets you know where they want you to be. They put us in inferior status based upon who we are.
When you're looking at the white America, when you're looking at this thing legal, when they say pressure, you notice that those are white people involved in this establishment, right? White America can never say to his white children that we're going to give you $200-300 million to start whatever you want to design to do. What white America has done, it create things for the white kids. To go to college after you graduate, you will have a place in white America. They don't design for us. All that job of white America is our depressions, the place that we depress on. You understand? Meaning the school system. What is the principal? A white principal. What is your teacher? Your white teacher. Well, you understand? He designed things that to keep us in the bottom. Not for us. You will find 1 or 2 black people. Guess what? His or her design is to live next to master. I can eat with the master in the same table. That's his desire. The one who wants the master degree and the PhD is to sit next to master. It's not to go back and help his people. You understand? Because that didn't design for you to go help your people. That's why the black judge get in trouble. That's why they're trying to get us in trouble. Guess what? As we go in every street, wake up our people, you're going to hear things about us. Y'all better get ready. Because guess what? We're here to change the mind of our people. You know that bishop talking about the movie wires? Guess what? We have to change that. That's what America want our people to think. God weighs 144 soldiers. These soldiers are not afraid to die. These soldiers are not afraid of fear anything. We're going to go to the street. We're going to go to the projects. We're going to go to every oppression of our people. We're going to wake these people up.
So we were talking about the way America engineers the way we live. America engineers the climate of stress, tension, poverty, hatred. America engineers all these things. Black on black crime is at an all-time high. We kill ourselves at a phenomenal rate. And guess what? There's no marches for us killing us. There's no sit-ins for us killing us. There's no justice, no peace screamings when us kill us. There's no songs, we shall overcome, when us kill us. None of these things go on. But let Jesus kill you, or the one you think is Jesus, that white man. There's marches, there's sit-ins, there's kumbaya, no justice, no peace, all kind of stuff going on. You create groups like Black Lives Matter for Jesus killing you, or the image of the beast killing you, I put it that way. All by design. Guess what? And gun shootings I'm talking about, gun shootings. Let me ask a question, because I ain't the smartest brother. In the hood, and where blacks and Latinos live, do we make guns? We don't make guns. We don't make Glock, none of these things. But the hood is filled. You want a weapon? Oh, it's out there. It is out there. There's liquor stores, there's churches on every other corner in the ghetto. But there's no gun stores. But we got guns. And we killing each other at a phenomenal rate. We got a whole lot of guns. Ain't nothing wrong with owning a gun. Heard what the key word I said. Owning. There's nothing wrong with owning a gun. Lawfully. Got to be legally. Give me that scripture in Luke 22:36. Read that. Luke 22:36.
Luke 22, verse 36. Then said he unto them, but now he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one.
So during that time, Christ told the disciples, get a weapon. Why? Because there are things, we had robbers out there, all kind of stuff. Christ was about to leave. He knew his time was almost up. He told them that. Get a weapon. Legally. It's legal. Legal. Now, y'all in New York, it's hard for y'all to get. New York is one of the hardest states to get a legalized weapon. But in the other states, they can get a lot more easier. So now, and don't bring them up in here. Don't bring them up in here. Remember, America engineers a climate of hatred, stress, poverty, murder. They give our people, our people get guns. Think about it. Give a gun to a poor, here you go, you got a poor brother. He's impoverished, depressed, and stressed. He might even be high on drugs. What do you think he's going to do with that gun he gets? Bang, bang. That's the state of our, I want y'all to see it's like a domino effect. You create a climate of a situation amongst poor people. Hatred, self-hate, depression, stress, tension, poverty. All those mingled together in a cauldron creates a violent, murderous, bloody living condition for our people. Understand that. Say it on the mic so they can hear you.
So the cauldron is the ghetto.
Right.
That big pot.
Exactly.
That boiling pot got us boiling over in it.
There you go. Officer Liam, give me Proverbs 1 verse 11 through 14. I'm going to show you what happens. So as teachers, yes, we are commanded to get on our people that sell drugs and that steal. But as teachers, we must first understand the root of a lot of the things that our people go through. Because some of our people want to come out of the lifestyle. You brothers have the answers. Come on.
The book of Proverbs 1 verse 11. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause.
This is our people. Our impoverished, broke, stressed, tense, drug, help me out, manipulated minds. This is the mindset of our people. Read it again.
If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause.
Without cause. Come on.
Let us swallow them up alive as the grave.
Let us swallow them up alive. Let us kill them and put them in the grave. Go ahead.
And whole as those that go down into the pit.
Go ahead.
We shall find all precious substance.
Right. The substance is coming from us robbing us. That's where the substance is coming from. Go ahead.
We shall fill our houses with spoil.
Uh-huh.
Cast in thy lot among us.
Join us. Join our gang. Go ahead.
Let us all have one purse.
Let us all have one purse. That's what gangs do. Now we just have to understand the mindset of our people in the gangs. Okay? Some of them lack father figures. You hear that a lot. They're looking for direction. That's where we come in to direct them properly. Give me Micah. The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 8. The Bible talks about everything. Everything it talks about. Micah chapter 2, verse 8. Come on.
Micah 2, verse 8. Even of late, my people is risen up as an enemy.
Even of late, my people, the Israelites, are risen up as an enemy. What we do?
Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely.
We robbing our brothers, our sisters of their clothing.
As men averse from war.
Like men from war looking for spoils. The Bible's talking about us being in such a low state, we rob each other. Proverbs said we kill each other. Black on black crime is explained in the Bible. But the solution is also explained in the Bible. We just need our people to see themselves in the Bible. Everybody understand that? So now let's read that next article briefly. Isaac, Captain Isaac, can you read this for us? 1 injured in South LA funeral.
1 injured in South LA funeral shootout. 1 person was critically injured Wednesday during a shootout at a funeral service in South Los Angeles. The shooting occurred around midday near 47th Street and Avalon Boulevard while a funeral was being held for Kumail Jefferson, 41, who was shot in a gang-related attack August 15th in the Vermont Slauson area. Police said the shooting was apparently the continuation of a gang rivalry that has been raging in the South Los Angeles area in recent weeks.
Right, so now stop right there. So that goes back to what we read in Proverbs 1 and Micah 2. I want to get to the next article. Give me the one about the judge that got 28 years, Abiel. See, what we're talking about, how America engineers this climate of living that we're in, this is going to explain it to you now. This is one of thousands of judges. He just happened to get caught. And everybody knows they do it. Watch me read this. All right.
Former judge gets 28 years for scheme to unjustly jail youth.
This is similar to the article we just read when the black judge was trying to keep them out of jail. They want to put us in jail. Go ahead.
A former Pennsylvania juvenile judge was sentenced to 28 years in prison Thursday after being convicted for a scheme to make millions of unjustly incarcerating young people, court officials said.
Notice it says juvenile. That's like from age 13 to 16 or 13 to 15, right? 13 to 15. Putting them in jail at such a young age over something that I'm sure is not really warranted.
Former Luzerne County Judge Mark Ciavarella was also ordered by a federal judge in Pennsylvania to pay about $1 million in restitution.
Is that all? Yeah, I'm saying is that all. Yeah, I'm greedy. And I ain't greedy, it's reality. Go ahead.
The sentence was 4 times the 87th month sentence that Ciavarella and federal prosecutors had agreed to when he pleaded guilty to charges in 2009. But that plea deal was thrown out by a federal judge and the case went to trial. Ciavarella was found guilty in February of 39 racketeering and fraud charges for accepting millions of dollars in bribes from friends who owned detention centers to which he sent juveniles.
Y'all see that? See, when it said they gave back $1 million in restitution, go back, go back. That's why I said, is that all? This man got, is there an S on millions? It said for accepting millions of dollars. And he's just giving $1 million? Are you kidding me? Go ahead, Cap.
The case made national headlines when Ciavarella was confronted by a distraught mother outside a courtroom after his conviction. Sandy Fonzo's 17-year-old son, Edward Kenzakowski, spent 6 months in a detention center after Ciavarella sentenced him for possession of drug paraphernalia.
Now that's a white boy right there. See there? See, you see that? If it wasn't for the white guy, this guy would have never got caught. Captain, what was you going to say? You had your hand up.
I think that went over people's heads. Okay, he said that he took bribes from his friends that owned prisons.
Right.
Meaning what? What's been proven, the prison system is a private industry. Right. If you own a business, okay, your profit comes from us getting locked up.
Right.
Okay, but I went over people's head. I don't think they understood that there.
Right. You're right.
You know, the jail system is a private industry.
Right.
It's not owned by the states or by the cities anymore. Okay, they actually go ahead and they auction them off, I believe, or they've sold them, okay, to individual people.
Right.
Individual Caucasian people.
Right. Benign neglect. Benign neglect. Benign neglect. It was can we look? Google it. Isaac, can you read that for us, please? Listen good. I want y'all to listen good to this.
Benign neglect was a policy proposed in 1969 by Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was at the time on President Richard Nixon's staff as an urban affairs advisor. While serving in this capacity, he sent the president a memo suggesting the time may have come when the issue of race could benefit from a period of benign neglect.
Go ahead.
The subject has been too much talked about.
Remember, 1969, you just had the civil rights movement. King was murdered. X was murdered. Everything was about race during the 60s. Race, race, race. Patrick Moynihan told Nixon, let's create an era of benign neglect. Read on.
The subject has been too much talked about. The forum has been too much taken over to hysterics, paranoids, and boodlers on all sides. We need a period in which Negro progress continues and racial rhetoric fades.
Racial rhetoric fades. Racial rhetoric fades. So now, let's explain that briefly. Benign neglect, I'm going to sum it up. It's a belief system to leave blacks to themselves. They said everything's a problem with white people interfering with black society. They said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to ignore you for a period of time. We're not going to put police on every corner. We're not going to put fire engines or what is it called? Fire stations in your neighborhoods. So guess what? And they step back. This is benign neglect. Remember what benign means? Kind. Neglect. We're going to kindly leave you to yourselves. Stew, in other words, right, stew in your own juices. Is there a fire in your house? We the white man. We're going to leave them alone. What happens to his house now? Burns down. There's crime going on. Police, leave it alone for a moment. What happens? Crime goes on the rise. You got drug dealing, leave them alone. Slumlords, leave them alone. That allowed the ghetto to truly become the ghetto. It deteriorated. It decayed, in other words. That's what happened. I want you to understand that. America shifted focus from the black and Latin. Remember, you had the young lords too. They shifted focus from the black and Latin communities, and they wanted to deal with more, with preferred minorities. Let's deal with minorities, but the preferred ones. What do you mean preferred minorities? We prefer white women, midgets, homosexuals, and so-called Jewish people. That's the minorities they dealt with. Blacks and Latinos, they said let them stew in their own juices. And our communities crumbled and went to hell in a handbasket. Understand that. So, brothers, get me Luke. What do I want to get? Get me Luke. Yeah, give me Luke 1. I'll close out there. Luke 1, y'all know what I want.
Luke 1, verse 68.
Yes.
Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he has visited and redeemed his people.
So, our joy, our happiness, our cheerfulness should come from what this scripture said, that the Lord has visited us and redeemed his people. Come on.
And hath raised up an horn of salvation for us.
He has raised up a horn of salvation means a king for us, a leader for us. Where?
In the house of his servant David.
In the house of his servant David. Come on.
As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies.
So the purpose of our king, our leader, Jesus the Christ, the black Messiah, is to deliver what?
That we should be saved from our enemies.
Because remember, your enemies who put on a facade of love engineers a climate for us of hatred. They engineer a climate of poverty. They engineer a climate of stress, tension. They engineer all this. Hold that real quick. Give me that. Hold that, Officer Leon. We're almost done. Give me Micah, I believe it is. The one about on their beds, they think about things. You know what I'm talking about? 2 and 1. Thank you.
Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Don't think that the way we live is by accident. The way the majority of our people live is by design. Read the verse again.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
They devise iniquity. You know why they devise iniquity? Because they read our records. If we can keep them in sin, God will not stand for them. So they devise iniquity. They create scenarios, living conditions for us. Come on.
When the morning is light, they practice it.
When we were emancipated, for example, they practiced all that they thought about in their think tanks. After the civil rights, they had think tanks. They engineered a living condition for us, a job condition. Because King was also marching about jobs, okay? Sanitation workers and things of that nature. So they engineered who can work, who should work, and who could not work. All of that was engineered. It was designed. It was devised. Read the verse again.
When the morning is light,
read the whole verse again.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence.
They took our homelands by violence. That all goes back to the history. Was that it?
And houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house.
They oppress a man what?
And his house, even a man and his heritage.
And even a man and his heritage. So we are living under oppression. Yes, Josiah.
And Bishop, the one thing with sending all those kids to jail remind me of those government jobs. When you send all those kids to jail at a young age, when they start applying for work when they get out of school, what's going to happen?
Right.
They're going to get red listed.
Right. Blacklist, they call them.
Blacklist.
Right. Black. Why they got to be black? Why ain't it red? But that's what it's all by design. I remember there was times when I was young. You older brothers might know. Older ones, you young ones though. You did not get a ticket for riding between. No, you got a ticket for jumping the turnstile. You got a ticket for riding between the cars. You got a ticket if they caught you smoking a blunt. But now everything is arrest, arrest, arrest. And it goes on your records. And it stays there. And there's nothing sealed that cannot be opened. You need a good lawyer to have it not sealed, purged. You want it purged from the system, not sealed. Because sealed, up there it goes right there. Don't fall for that sealed crap. It's crap. I'm telling you.
Like Bill Cosby.
Right.
You
Yeah.
thought his
The
was
proof
sealed.
is Bill Cosby.
That's right.
They opened his sealed record.
I believe it's expunged.
Right. That's the word. Expunged. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Bishop.
Yes.
You know that the juvenile, talking about the kids between 14 and 15, you know how much that each of them worth? A year? They're worth $400,000 a year. That's how much each of these kids worth. So what you think? It's easy to give a man 10, 20 million.
Right.
To still keep sending these kids to lock them in.
Exactly.
Bishop, I wanted to give a scripture to show that under the circumstances that the bishop explained now, that the Bible shows that a man that doesn't want to do things unlawful will do it. It's not all the time that they're evil, it's if the odds are set against them. Give me Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. Because Deacon Malachi quoted the scripture, but we didn't read it. But I'm going to show you what Solomon was saying here. In all his wisdom, listen to what he said.
Proverbs 30, verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies.
So he don't want vanity around him, and he don't want lies around him, which is what this society is made of. Vanity and lies. Okay, the American dream is a vanity and lies. Read on.
Give me neither poverty.
He said, I don't want to be poor. Read on.
Nor riches.
Nor riches. Read on.
Feed me with food convenient for me.
The food convenient is the Most High watching over us and giving us what we need, because we ourselves don't know. Watch this. Read on.
Lest I be full.
Some of you say, oh, if I hit the lotto, I'm gonna take care of the school, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna buy a house. But look what Solomon says. Read it again.
Lest I be full and deny thee.
So you are a liar. A lot of you, if you hit the lotto, you'll deny. You won't even know this building exists. You won't know nothing about no Israel United in Christ. You'll be gone. And it's written in the scriptures. Some of you, if you get full, you'll walk out of this truth. In a hot second, nobody won't see your behind no more. Read it again.
Lest I be full and deny thee and say.
Read on.
Who is the Lord?
What about this truth? What's this Israelite stuff? You in the Bahamas, you in Tahiti, you in your country where you came from. You want to show off with the money, so you're denying the Most High. You ain't keeping no Sabbath no more. You saying, I just want to travel the world. A lot of you, if you get money, you will deny the Most High God. And all y'all keep talking about when y'all playing the lottery, oh, I'm going to give this person money and I'm going to give that. You're a damn liar. Read on.
Or lest I be poor and steal.
Say that again.
Or lest I be poor and steal.
So if you get poor enough, you will steal. Read on.
And take the name of my God in vain.
Okay, and now you'll be in a place where you're sinning, taking the Lord's name in vain. So conditions can exist where a brother will fall to that lowest part, where he's selling crack, where he's stealing, where he's robbing. He don't want to do it. That's why Solomon was saying in the scriptures, he wanted to be neutral. Just give me enough to sustain me. I don't want to be too rich that I forget the Most High, and I don't want to be that bad that I'm in front of the store begging, can you buy my kids some milk? That's a humbling experience. You feel humiliated. So the next thing now is you turn from that humiliating experience to, I'm going to go rob.
Brother Neam, read that scripture in Micah again. He get up.
Micah 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
That's the part I want. Read that part again.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
That's what the bishop said, what he said. Because the wicked have the power to design things, to make you think that you off. But he don't want to design it for you. That's why when they talk about black people, they say we don't like to work. We don't like to do this. But the laziness he created, those welfare, housing, Section 8. You understand? He created the design because he got the power, he got the money behind it to do so. So when now he put it in the media, we look like a bunch of savage. But he don't want to design the whole thing. You understand? It's just like a movie. He designed the whole thing. Then he go back and say, you see, look what they are. Look, they're a bunch of Negroes. Look what they are. You understand? He got power. He got the money to do so.
And you know what's proof of that? I was watching the news. ASAP, you may have saw this. With all the refugees from, was it Syria they coming from? They're a billionaire. A billionaire offered to buy an island and put all of them on. Hundreds of thousands. He said there's laws in place where he's not allowed to do that.
He can't do it. Yes, they have restrictions in place.
Right, restrictions where he can't do it. He said, but there's enough room on this planet for everybody, he said. He said, let me buy the island. He said it will hold all of them very easily. They told him, no.
And like I said before, I told y'all 100 times, watch the movie, the documentary, The End of Poverty. They've already came up with resolutions to a lot of the solutions on the face of the planet. But there are restrictions and laws put in place. So no, we don't want you to be able to self-sustain yourself. We want you to be self-reliant on the government. So you can't grow no trees in your backyard that will help you bring food into your house. You cannot create a system where you can gather rainwater and get your own water. You can't plant vegetation certain places because you're going to break laws we put in place to keep you self-sufficient on us. That's what that movie is about. They said that the money they use for war for 1 year could end all the poverty all over the world. Watch the documentary. Give me Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 23. That's for all of you in this room right now. That's the reason why we're here. Because some of you come through the door, I want a better job, I want this, I want a wife, I want this. But listen to what the Most High says.
Jeremiah 9, verse 23. Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom.
Because some of you brag about, not that I'm saying there's anything wrong about being educated, but you think that you're better off because of your education. Read on.
Neither let the mighty man glory in his might.
Some of you believe because you have might on this earth that you can glory in it and it will sustain you over the Most High's wrath. Read on.
Let not the rich man glory in his riches.
Some of you think because you have money you're better off. You don't need the Most High in your life. This is how you're supposed to be. Verse 24.
But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me.
That's why we here. That's what should keep you going. You should glory in this, that you understand what's going on in this Bible, and you know the Most High for the first time in your life. Read it again.
But let him that glorieth glory in this.
Because all of us are in poverty. We're in ruins. We're worrying about where our next paycheck is going to come from. We're going to lose our job. We're going to lose our house. I don't have no wife. I don't have no husband. I'm sick. Read on.
That he that understandeth and knoweth me.
But we understand now that this God is in control of it. And we made a connection back to him. So we understand and we know him. So that's our hope. We're not like them people in the Christian church singing and banging tambourines and waiting for white man Jesus to come save them, and he ain't coming. Missiles is coming to burn them up. We know the truth about the Bible. So we glory in that we have this truth as bad as we look. Read it again.
But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness.
So we know that as bad as things are, he's going to exercise loving kindness to us. He's going to free us. He's going to send us a horn of salvation. He's going to send his son to redeem us. That's where we get our comfort. That's how we can glory. That's how we can hold our head up. Because you cannot glory in your wisdom. You cannot glory in your riches. You cannot glory in your might. He said, don't worry about those things because they're going to be taken from you. You glory in the fact that you understand and you know the Most High. And he's going to exercise loving kindness. Read on, and what else?
Judgment and righteousness.
Judgment to our oppressors.
In the earth.
In the earth. And he's going to establish back righteousness in the earth. That's what should give you peace. That's what should make you sleep in your beds. That's what should keep you going every day. That's why the man that's in jail, knowing he's coming out in 10 years, he sees something at the end of that sentence, at that bid. We got a bid. It's like we're in prison right now, and paradise awaits us. So y'all better know what you're glorying in, and y'all better know why y'all here.
For in these things I delight, saith the Lord.
And that's what your Creator delights in, that you're looking for him as your way out, that you're looking for him to bail you out of jail. You're looking for him when the prison doors open up. You see that tall black man, that man over there right there. He's going to be waiting for us to give us robes.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this and join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.